Hello and welcome to the Books Crypto Club weekly catch-up on Zoom. It's Sunday the 7th of November 2021 and we're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies, blockchain, DeFi, NFTs, ICOs, STOs and any other letters that come into mind really. But actually it depends on who the audience is who show up. We change the subject each week. But do remember, if you want to learn more about this, click on the subscribe button, click on the like, or even come along to a future session. They're open to novices and experts alike. Everyone's welcome and we're all here to learn and share. So let's see who's going to come and join us today and what we're going to talk about this evening. Sorry. Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm all right.
Anything exciting in the world of crypto?
I think we saw a few weeks ago, but I think Facebook turned to Meta.
Meta with Facebook, yeah?
They're kind of like closer to the NFT thing. I think suppose they're trying to lure the kind of crowd people.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with that. I did an article a couple of weeks ago on LinkedIn, I think it was, about how it might be another way of Facebook getting into the crypto space without the regulators noticing. Because if they do it via the metaverse, then the regulators will think, oh, this is all to do with gaming and that kind of thing, and won't take any interest. So we'll see. But have you been reading about it or something?
No, not really that much. Is there anything happening this week? It's kind of quiet because I think after the US with the Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin future ETFs, and then the prices kind of went up. It's still kind of following the trend currently in the markets.
Okay.
I think there should be like a downtrend sometime soon where people kind of calm down, maybe gradually seeing later this week or by the end of this year.
You think that's what on Bitcoin you mean?
No, I think broadly, like everything, like kind of all heated up recently, not just Bitcoin. I mean, Ethereum reached new high.
Okay.
And that token as well, I think like even XRP is $1.2, something like that.
What did XRP get to? Because I thought it had made 122.
Yeah, exactly. The 120 is pretty high for XRP, I think.
Okay, I'll just pull the chart up. Actually, that's an interesting point to look at. Just have a look.
Yes. It's pretty high, actually.
Yeah, because it did hit this peak a while ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then I don't know if that was when the court action started kicking off or something, but that was back in...
I think the lawsuit, I think they run the lawsuit back then.
Yeah, well, that was back in September, certainly, when it hit the highs of like about, I think it hit 140, 150 or something. But yeah, you're right. It seems to be, it's got like quite a healthy uptrend at the moment.
Yeah. So everything's kind of all hyped up in this space right now.
Yeah. Yeah, they all seem to be doing well, don't they? Which is always interesting. Because that usually means it's an indication that things are about to plummet again. Although this is not a recommendation or financial advice, as they say. Solana was one that people were looking at, and Cardano.
Yeah, Solana. Yeah, there's all just broadly everything is just rising really.
Okay.
Greatly over this time, and SHIB as well. Like apparently, just my opinion, I don't think it's that attractive, but surprisingly, there's still people like putting lots of money into them and pumping it up. Okay.
Yeah, because I was just taking a look at SHIB, as you say.
Yeah, SHIB.
The problem with the meme coins like Doge and SHIB,
exactly,
is that they seem to do really, really well, and then you just think that they're going to plummet at some point.
Well, I never understand why people invest in these kind of coins. I mean, you could invest in NFT, so.
Yep. Yeah. You're right, but if you look at the kind of like the history of SHIB, where I think it was as a result of a couple of tweets from Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Did some crazy things, but you can see how it was dead for absolutely ages and ages, and then suddenly it rocketed up several times, and then it went dead for a while, and then it seriously rocketed up and then collapsed, and it seems to be recovering again at the moment. See, that seems to be, it's almost as though it's trying to decide what to do next. It's gone fairly stable and fairly static around this 58 mark or whatever.
I think so. Right now, we don't have too much new news or anything kicking in, so the industry sort of stales a bit. I do think that there might be a potential like reversal sometime soon. So
okay. And I don't know, obviously that's looking at SHIB, where it's gone fairly dead at the moment. I'm just wondering what Doge is doing at the moment. Let's see.
I think it's roughly the same.
Is that right? Because it's a lot further down at the moment in terms of its position, in terms of the amount being traded in that. But yeah, again, it seems to be like channeling kind of thing. So yeah, that seems fairly settled at the moment. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see what happens this week with both of those, because they've been getting a fair amount of attention. I don't know if people have been buying into them and whether they'll start selling. But I think you're right. Bitcoin might be the interesting one this week, because did the ETFs go live? Was it 1 week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yeah. So we'll see where that goes, but I don't know how popular they were when they launched.
I think they've launched already.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely get quite lots of like attention from the institutional investors, I think.
Okay. Because
because like, one of the things, like in the past, I think people in the US, they can't invest in the kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now they could like actually do that, and then they could like go into something like ETF, which is a lot more liquid than say, investing in like a Bitcoin.
Yeah, because that's what's interesting. Because in the States they've launched that ETF, and in the UK they've banned.
Yeah, all parts of the world
crypto.
we've launched this thing like a long time ago already, and in the US they're just kind of like catching up, I feel like.
Mm. Although, as I was going to say, in the UK they've banned crypto ETFs.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So I don't know where are you based, Mike?
Yeah, actually, it's based in the UK.
Yeah,
but don't work much with the UK market. So
okay, yeah. No,
I know in Europe, they have like this thing like a long time ago already.
Yeah. So I seem to remember that the UK FCA launched a crypto derivatives paper, which effectively banned any form of crypto derivatives for retail customers.
Oh, I think
anyway.
One in January, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
No, well, I think they banned it for like retail investors, but if you are like institutional, you're still okay to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I don't know how much of an institutional market in crypto derivatives there is in the UK. It'd be an interesting.
There should be quite a bit, I think. Should be quite a bit. Institutional is quite okay, I think.
Okay. Yeah, certainly it's worth watching those. But it's a
shame. High net worth of the large, fund houses. I think they definitely have some cryptos in there.
Yeah, and I think some of the family offices as well are beginning to put into that kind of thing. Yeah, but it was interesting because I don't know if you read the report, but the FCA actually did a survey of customers in the UK of crypto and that, and something like 97% of them were in favour of crypto and crypto derivatives. And despite that, the FCA said, "Well, no, you can't do it anyway because we think it's too risky for you."
Risk, the leverage, and the kind of things, because lots of those like crypto derivatives involve leverage.
Yeah,
and you have crypto that moves so volatilely, and then people could like wipe out, especially for retail investors. So
yeah,
I get the reason why they did that, but maybe they should adopt some of the way. I think there's some pressure definitely already because US doing it, Europe doing it, and then UK you are not doing it.
Yeah,
and I think it's a bit of a joke as well because in Europe, because I work with the European markets, and they have actual regulatory authorities for cryptocurrencies already, and right here in the UK you're still kind of behind. I think that we'll see how that trend actually goes, but I feel like there's a lot of things the UK or even the US they have to catch up.
Yeah,
this space.
But I don't think cryptos are regulated in Europe yet, are they?
No, I think it is. It's regulated. Because I work with the entity in Switzerland, Liechtenstein. I think they have regulations.
Sorry. Okay, yeah. So I know the Swiss have got FINMA, which is the Swiss regulator. They did a really good paper around crypto assets a while ago.
Yeah.
And they were the ones that initially broke them up into cryptocurrencies, crypto tokens, crypto assets, that kind of thing, and security tokens, that kind of thing. But I wasn't sure what we meant by regulation on that. So yeah, you're right. Swiss and Malta as well. As Malta, they put in, was it the VFD, virtual financial market regulation, which was quite good. So you're right, there are some areas that are regulated out.
Yeah.
But it's been a fairly quiet week otherwise, I think. So
yeah, I think it's started to calm down a bit. So I do believe there will be a reversal soon. That's why, because the people will take profits, right? I mean,
yeah, I think you're right. I think I've been quoted as saying that we might see a repeat of what happened at the end of 2017.
Yeah.
Where in 2017, everything was going really nicely. Everything was going up nicely. And then late end of December, Bitcoin crashed from, it hit a peak of $20,000 and went down to, I don't know if it was 6,000 or something. It was a significant drop anyway.
Yeah. But then you see that the trends overall is still going up. The back then 20,000, now was like 60,000. So
yeah. Well, this is the thing, that it's the whole argument that, I mean, it's trading on what, 62 at the moment, which compared to the beginning of the year,
yeah.
I mean, what was it?
Is it 40, 30, 40, something like that?
Something like that. I think it was 35 or something. Yeah, it's kind of around about this kind of mark where it was 22, in fact.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been quite a lot of it this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it's gone from like 24 to 62. So
yeah,
it's 2.5 times, isn't it? Easily. So that's beating most people's deposit accounts.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's people talking about like the investment return, all of them in the crypto, they're like 100x or 200x or 300x, something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice thing as well that if you actually look at this chart, that, you know, even if you bought at the previous peak and you've suffered this kind of like massive downturn, it's all recovered. Yeah. And it's all with it hitting a whole time high again. So as long as you,
so I think like Polkadot, sorry, like people who did poker, I know there's a guy who's like, yeah, lost lots of money on poker and they just hold on. Now he basically recovered everything already.
Yeah. So that was what, on Polkadot?
Yeah, Polkadot.
Yeah,
it's back to 50 something already. It's poker.
Well, let's take a look at that while we're here, because Polkadot's one I always find interesting, with it being more.
I think the lowest was about 19, 18, something like that, or 14.
Okay.
I think that was like a few months ago only.
Well, certainly, I mean, it dropped down here on about $32. It's now hovering around about the $53 mark.
Crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not
everything
bad.
Should recover. Yeah.
That's not bad for that's only back in October. Let's take a look at it a little bit.
Maybe a year. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting looking chart, isn't it? There's definitely a trend to see there.
Yeah.
Where it's gone. I don't know if you can see on your screen, but back in August when it was at 20 and it's now at 53, as we were saying.
Yeah. See that like 14, 15, something like that, and then now it's like 50.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's another good one. So I think Polkadot's always one of those ones that people look at it after it's gone up in price, and they always go, "Oh yeah, I wish I'd been part of that." But it's certainly an interesting.
It's really hard.
Technology.
Like, you know exactly what time to time the markets and stuff like that.
You're right, but if we could work that out, if it was easy, then we'd all have retired and we'd be on a beach somewhere, wouldn't we?
That's the hard part. Like, how do you know the timing, right?
Yeah.
Most people probably when they invest a bit, maybe like 30 something, and they saw it drop to like 20, and they sold it all, and then they recovered to 50. You're like,
Yeah, but it's interesting again. I mean, at the moment, Polkadot obviously had this really nice run from the middle of the year.
Not just like Polkadot. I think broadly all the cryptocurrencies are benefiting from this run, mainly from the US news.
Okay.
So I think just broadly the industry kind of view. If you look at, for example, even on LinkedIn or other like sources, a lot of people talking about crypto, right? Yeah. I mean, back then they don't have that kind of like hype or attention towards crypto. And then you got like Facebook naming like Meta as well. So apparently there's kind of like a trend that, you know, people kind of going into this area, or you could say acceptance into the crypto industry.
And I think it's the general thing as well. I mean, if you look at the graphs of all the main cryptos at the moment, you know, they're all, with the exception of Tether, which is a stable coin, so it doesn't count anyway. They're all pretty much in the green until we get to Doge, which has had a bit of fun. USDC, again, that's another stable coin. Shiba, it's the one we were looking at before, that was doing quite well. But yeah, there's a lot of green there right now. So maybe things
exactly. So everyone's very optimistic on the crypto.
Yeah. So maybe that's the thing, when everything seems to be going well, maybe that's the time to sell.
Yeah, probably.
Although again, not financial advice for anyone who's watching this later. But we'll see where that goes. But everyone seems to be getting more and more into the NFT space at the moment, simply because they can see things increasing so much. I mean, Axie Infinity, I noticed that was going up the other week anyway. That seems to have settled down quite nice. But it's like, it's gone up 17% in a week. It's not bad.
Yeah, every crypto is like that just recently, so it's not just,
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, have you heard about this Doge of Elon new meme coin? Yeah, this is a pretty crazy one. I think it's only launched recently. But again, it's another meme coin. And take a look. It kind of went from like, what's that, 8 cents up to 34 cents. So that's, almost fourfold increase, kind of like crazy type thing. But I thought it was just a skit on a few others. So we'll see where that one goes anyway. So, hey, we've got Peter's joined us. Hi, Peter.
Yeah, tell me what to figure out how to get the sound to work.
And you're our technology guru as well. You're the superstar. Yeah. We've just been talking, Mike and I, about the general crypto markets and how everything seems to be just creeping up quite nicely at the moment. So it's a question of, is that going to continue, or are we going to see a sudden drop or something? But you track some of the interesting other statistics, don't you, like volumes and that?
Yeah. I mean, the kind of key driver seems to be, still, well, firstly, kind of, until recently, kind of supply being kind of gobbled up by the, essentially the whales. Now kind of around the all-time high, they tend to kind of start distributing again, which kind of has started, but the market has been able to kind of absorb the increased volumes. So we'll have to see kind of what the analysis is this week. As there was this kind of a slow redistribution, and it kind of reversed a bit again. So we'll have to kind of see whether they're kind of distributing or kind of still buying.
Because for anyone who's kind of like looking at the charts, the volumes here seem to have been relatively stable. There haven't been many like sudden peaks or troughs or anything. So it looks to me as though there's been like constant mixture of buying and selling, fairly well balanced. But I don't know if you're seeing it differently, whether it's the whales are accumulating or something.
Yeah, they're steadily accumulating, so they're not kind of like aggressively kind of pushing up prices. They're just kind of quietly accumulating, and sooner or later kind of the supply shock hits kind of thing. Okay.
So I was floating the idea that we might have another 2017 on our hands, where everything's going quite nicely, and then suddenly there's a shock as people dump. But I wonder if this time they'll just, rather than doing a rapid dump on the market, we'll just sell off bit by bit this time.
The speed of distribution by the kind of whales to some extent, as that is kind of a key determinant of where the kind of peak is, and then how quickly it falls off as well.
Okay, so for anyone who's listening to that, then how would you actually explain that a bit more?
The long and short of it, price is just a reflection of demand and supply. And the kind of on the supply side, the big determinant is essentially what the whales and what the miners are doing, whether they're either accumulating in hope for higher prices, or whether they are kind of selling into bull market strength. So when there's a strong bull market, they sell, and in the bear market and also in the early stages of a bull market, they accumulate. And then it's kind of early to mid bull market where it passes the previous all-time high, when they flip from accumulation, so to buying up and swallowing up the supply, which forces future price up, to kind of selling and cashing in on their profits. And so we're kind of at the kind of cusp of them kind of flipping from accumulation to selling and cashing in their profits.
Okay.
So as we're kind of around the previous all-time high.
Right. So you think that if they hit the all-time high again, they'll generally start selling off bit by bit, do you think?
Yeah. Kind of gradually, yeah.
Yeah.
Provided that the market is strong enough to be able to kind of, well, there's basically enough new buyers to absorb the Bitcoin they're selling.
Okay. Because the thing I found interesting the other day is that even though the Bitcoin price is kind of like hovering around about the 62 mark, and it's still pretty dominant in the whole crypto market space, that the overall total market cap of all cryptos now is up to something like $2.7 trillion. So that's grown quite significantly. And I'm wondering, is that more people just generally putting into crypto, or is it specific cryptocurrencies like Ethereum's been on a really nice run the last few days, or whether it's people putting into DeFi? I don't know if you look at those at all.
I mean, we do kind of do some tracking of like Ethereum as well, and the supply crunch on the Ethereum side is even more stark than on Bitcoin, which has like helped drive up prices. Part of that is locking into the like new beacon chain. Some of that is locking into DeFi, but also well, for Ethereum it's been more smaller holders, so 1 to 32 Ethereum that have been accumulating, as opposed to the really big guys.
Okay. Yeah, because I was looking at the NFT space, which sometimes involves locking crypto up, but more for the DeFi space. As you say, there's a lot, and I know Avalanche are doing a fair amount of this in terms of locking up tokens, which means you're effectively making them unavailable to the market. I mean, you look at some of these newer ones that I haven't even heard of. Liquidity I'm not familiar with, but that seems to have done phenomenally in the last week.
And also overall, kind of leverage is still kind of a lot more under control than it was in the first quarter of this year, which is also positive. So it's like this rally is driven a lot more by kind of actual buying and also kind of more stable leverage versus earlier in the year when it was driven a lot more by people overextending themselves and borrowing against crypto. Now they tend to be borrowing against fiat in order to finance leverage, which is much more, well, less risky.
So that might tie in with what Mike and I were talking about before he joined us around the Bitcoin ETF market, which has kicked in.
Yeah.
And I don't know, did you notice when that went live, if there was anything noticeable on Bitcoin prices or anything?
Trying to remember, there was some kind of, there was a usual kind of buy the rumor, sell the news, and when the market peaked around 67K, there was essentially a long squeeze on the leverage side, because the run up of the previous week was largely driven by leverage as opposed to actual kind of Bitcoin buying, and then at the peak it very quickly got squeezed, and a lot of longs were kind of very quickly kind of closed, which caused the kind of crash back down.
Okay. But your overall sentiment is that the prices are rising at the moment because there's new money coming into the market as people are buying into it. Okay.
So, I mean, it's partly kind of supply kind of has kind of pushed the prices enough to kind of pique people's interest again and kind of bring in new buyers into the market.
Okay. And by supply, you mean more than just the new coins that are being created through the mining process? You mean, or like whales and that beginning to sell off? Okay.
Whereas, well, since kind of end of June, there's been kind of a very large drop in circulating supply of Bitcoin on exchanges, etc.
Okay.
And same for Ethereum as well.
That's kind of interesting because that's something that a lot of people don't always look that closely at, in terms of the circulating supply across exchanges, because it's not always easy to derive. But you do some detailed analysis on that then. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of data providers that do this kind of analysis and break it down various different ways. Okay,
well, we shall have to keep an eye out on that then. I'll close this session off early today because there's no use just rambling on about things. Mike, Peter, thanks a lot for coming along today, and we'll close it there then.
Cheers.
All right, so then see you, Mike, see you, Peter. Bye now.